everyone's Gauss on this side. So today hand we are dealing with a topic called as human digestion. Okay, so let's get started. So here, basically, food is one of the basic requirement of all organism. Okay, food is the basic requirement of all organism. So now, what are the major components of food? So they are carbohydrate, protein and fat, or what we call them as LPC. Correct? We call them as LPC, which means lipid, protein and the carbohydrate. Lipid, protein and carbs. Correct? Okay. So whenever I'll be dealing with the case, lipid is broken down into what, or protein is broken down into which molecules, and the carbohydrates. So if I'll be dealing with the cases, the first thing first, if I'm dealing with the carbohydrates here, so the carbohydrates will be broken down into simple sugar molecules, or rather I'll be just writing as sugar. Okay, carbohydrates are basically broken down into simple sugar molecules, or I'll be calling them as monosaccharide. I'll be calling them as monosaccharides. Okay, deal with the case. And now dealing with the protein. So the protein portion is broken down into, it is broken down into amino acids. Correct? It is broken down into amino acids. These are the building blocks of the protein. And the last but not the least one, the fat. The fat is basically broken down into, it is broken down into fatty acid and glycerol. Fatty acid and glycerol. Okay, deal with the case. And all of these three molecules are called as organic molecules or biomolecules. Why? Because they contain these elements in common: carbohydrate, carbon, hydrogen and the oxygen. All these atoms are present in the biomolecule, and these all three are fulfilling the condition. The next one is called as the vitamins. Here, the vitamins and the minerals. The vitamins and the minerals are also present in the food in small quantity. In small quantity. Now, what is the function of vitamins? So basically, if you are dealing with the, if you have dealt with the case called as enzyme, so you do know about the cases. Okay. If you do know still, like if you do know about the enzymes, you'll be going through the cases. How come? Because our vitamins are our vitamins are the cofactor of enzymes. Our vitamins are the cofactor of enzyme. Okay. Here, what is the meaning of cofactor? These cofactors are responsible for the activation of enzymes. So if I'll be writing something like this, the apoprotein, which is the proteinous part of the enzyme, then I'll be writing as cofactor, and this apoprotein and the cofactor will be wholly giving us the holoenzyme, the holo or the functional enzyme. Okay, deal with the case. So if the cofactor is in the, if the coenzyme is in the organic form, it will be called as vitamin, and if it is the inorganic form, it will be called as prosthetic group. It will be called as prosthetic group. Now where the prosthetic group is, so it's none other than the minerals. It's none other than the minerals. Okay, deal with. And they are required in the small quantity. Please do remember one thing, that if the vitamins level have been increased in our body, if the vitamin level has been increased in our body, like there will be a different condition which will be developed in the body called as hypervitaminosis. Okay, so deal with that case as well. Now the food provides us energy and the organic material for the growth and repair of the tissue. Yes, it's obvious thing that the food will be providing us energy as well. Like the carbohydrates are also providing us energy, proteins are also, and the fats also. But still, they are providing us energy by different means. Which means 1 gram of the carbohydrate will be providing you almost 4 kilocalorie, whereas 1 gram of the protein will be providing you almost 5.2 kilocalorie, whereas 1 gram of the lipid or the fat will be providing you almost 9.2 kilocalories of energy. Okay, now the next thing as well here, water. The water, it does plays an important role in the metabolic process. Water, whatever we are intaking, does plays an important role in the metabolic process, and it also prevents the dehydration of the body. It also prevents the dehydration of the body. So basically biomacromolecules in the food, the biomacromolecules in the food cannot be utilized our body in the original form. Why? Because they are very much complex in structure and they are very huge. So they have to be broken down, they have to be broken down and they have to be converted into simple substances. Okay, deal with. And where they'll be converted into simple substances, this that is what today's topic is. They will be converted in the digestive system. So the complex food will be broken down into simple molecules and this process will be called as digestion. This process will be called as digestion. Okay, deal with. Now the first digestion will be occurring by the mechanical, that is the mechanical churning in the mouth with the help of teeth, and then the biochemical method which will be starting from the mouth and it will be ending at the intestine. Okay, deal with the case. So the general organization of the human digestive system will be shown in the figure. So basically the human digestive system consists of the alimentary canal and the associated glands. So let's go for the figure here. Now, so here in the figure, it is clearly mentioned about each and every system organ of the digestive system. So starting with the first thing first, the anteriorly situated opening of the body, that's called as mouth. Correct? So here mouth is just opened in the oral cavity, and in the oral cavity we'll be finding the teeth and the tongue, or rather I'll be calling as teeth and the muscular tongue. And if I'll be going for the further detail, the teeth whatever we are having is gone for this configuration ICPM. What does this means? It is incisor, canine, premolar and molar, and the dental formula of human is 2 1 2 3. Correct? Which means we have two incisors, one canine, two premolar and three molars, and we have this in four sockets, something like this. So here you will be having 8 teeth, here 8 as well, here 8 as well, here 8 as well. And if I'm dividing, if I'm adding all of them, the final answer will be coming something like 32. That is the reason why we are having 32 teeth. A normal human has 32 teeth. Okay, deal with the case. Now there are some associated glands as well in the digestive system, so I'll be dealing with them as well. So here I'm observing that the name is coming parotid gland, the another is called the submaxillary and the submandibular, and the last but not the least one is coming as sublingual gland. So these three special glands are present, which are present in the oral cavity itself, and they are acting as the digestive glands. So whatever the food has been entered in our mouth, it will be dealing with the pharynx, which is the common passage for food and air, which is a common passage for food and air. Correct? Okay, it's the pharynx which is the common passage for food and the air. Deal with the case. And just after entering in the pharynx, the food will be now ending in the long tube like structure called as esophagus. Deal with the case. And after passing the esophagus, our food will be entering in the J-shaped structure called as stomach. J-shaped structure called as stomach. Please do remember one thing, that the stomach is on the left side of the body. Stomach is in the left side of the body, just like the heart. Just like the heart, the situation of the heart will be here, something like this. Okay, deal with the case. Now, and beside the stomach on the right portion of the body, here is the liver. The largest gland of the human body is the liver, and the secretion of the liver is none other than it is the bile. Correct? Okay, and the bile has been stored for a while in the gallbladder. Here the gallbladder is. Okay, the bile is stored for a while in the gallbladder, and they have a connection there directly in the stomach, like just after at the ending of the stomach and in starting of the small intestine. And below the stomach we are observing a structure called as pancreas. Correct? So here the pancreas is, and the pancreas is also pouring all the secretions into the small intestine. Now dealing with the small intestine, here like I'll be drawing something like this is the small intestine somehow, and so on. Correct? Okay, and the small intestine is divided into three portions called as duodenum, jejunum and ileum. Duodenum, jejunum and ileum. So just the starting portion of the intestine, just after the stomach, is called as a duodenum. Then it has been entered into the multiple coiled structure called as jejunum, and highly coiled structure, something like here the structure will be, it will be called as ileum. Okay, deal with the case. And the combine the like ultimately, if I'll be dealing with the length of the length of the small intestine and the large intestine, so the small intestine is almost 5 meters, whereas the large intestine is 1.5 meter. Okay, so the name has given vice versa because of the lumen size, not because of the length of them. Okay, so deal with that case as well. Now here, so whenever like we are dealing, we are like ending with the small intestine somehow here, and like the large intestine has been started here, so we are observing a blind tube here, something like I'll highlight this here. Correct? Okay. So this is none other than vermiform appendix. This is none other than vermiform appendix. Basically, the vermiform appendix is vestigial organ for us, guys. Basically, it is vestigial for us, but still, it is functional in some herbivores. It is functional in some herbivores. Please do remember this case, that the vestigial, like the vermiform appendix, is functional in herbivores, and the function of the vermiform appendix, or only the appendix, is cellulase production. The function is cellulase production. And what is the function of cellulase? It is responsible for breakdown of cellulose. It is responsible for cellulose breakdown. Okay, deal with the case. Now, so somehow, if the condition has been developed called as appendicitis, it is the infection of appendix. If the condition that is called as appendicitis, that is the infection of the appendix, has been developed, what the surgeon will be doing, he'll be just removing this appendix. Okay, he'll be just removing this appendix. So now after the small intestine, the food will be entering into the large intestine. And do remember one thing, whenever the semi digested food has entered from the stomach to the intestine, it will be called as chyme. It will be called as chyme. And whenever that much digested or much absorbed food has been entering in that small, in the large intestine, now it will be called as chyle. So whenever the food is leaving the stomach, it will be called as chyme, and whenever the food is leaving the small intestine, it will be called as chyle. And now it will be excreted out of the body after the water absorption and all. Okay, so deal with the case. Now here, if I'm dealing with the chyle word itself, like the chyle is none other than like the emulsified lipids and all. Okay, so deal with that, will be a milky color. Now, so we are here in the large intestine, and here the first portion of the large intestine is cecum itself. Here, which is having the appendix on one hand and rectum on the, I'm sorry, and colon on the other hand. So there are four portions of the large intestine that are called as the ascending colon. Then we have the transverse colon. Then we have the descending colon, and at the end of the day, we have the sigmoid colon. Please do remember one thing, that the sigmoid is somehow like the S-like structure, something like this. Like I'll be drawing in some like this page. Okay, this page, this is the S-like structure called as a sigmoid colon. So the four parts of the colon is, the first one again I'm dealing with. This is the ascending colon. This is the transverse colon. This is the descending colon, and this is the sigmoid colon. And then colon will be entering into the rectum portion, and the rectum will be eventually opened into the anus, through which the undigested food material will be expelled out of the body in the form of feces. In the form of feces. Okay, deal with the case. Now again, dealing with a brief revision, like the food had been entered from the anterior end of the body, like that is the mouth, and it is after crossing the oral cavity, it will be entering into the pharynx, pharynx to esophagus, esophagus to stomach, stomach to the small intestine, duodenum, jejunum, ileum, then cecum, ascending colon, transverse colon, descending colon, sigmoid colon, and rectum, and eventually it will be thrown out of the body called as anus. The posterior end of the body, or the posterior opening of the body, is called as anus. So deal with the cases. Okay, now this was all about the human digestive system. Hopefully this lecture has been beneficial for you guys. Thank you very much for your so much support. Please do ask me questions. If you do have any kind of doubt, you can ask me there in the comment sections as well. Okay, thank you.